Hi Finxters, and welcome to this video about the Python return keyword. So the return keyword, it's one of about 30 keywords in Python that have a special meaning. So if you type in the keyword return, it indicates. So now this is a very dirty shell. So if you type in return, it is highlighted usually in a code shell. So it indicates that it's a special keyword with special meaning. And what is special meaning? So if you create a function. Basically, we have an example here. We create a function with another keyword def. So we have def add. We call the function add. The function takes two parameters, x and y, and it returns the sum of this return expression. So after the return keyword, you can define an optional return expression, and this indicates that the Python function, the execution flow in the Python function is now ready, is now done, is now finished. So it indicates that it exits the function, the execution flow exits the function. So in a Python program goes from top to bottom, and then if you call a function like here, so we start with value 1, we set it to 2, we set value 2 to 40, then we define a variable value 3 as like the third step, and we call the function add. We pass in value 1 and value 2. Those at the time of execution, they have the values 2 and 40. So now we jump into the execution flow of the program. It jumps into the function. It checks. Okay, so the user wants to the programmer wants to call the function add. So it checks the definition of the function add. The function add takes two arguments, x and y are set to value 1 and value 2 respectively. Value 1 is 2, value 2 is 40, so we have 2 and 40, and now the return keyword indicates that you should immediately exit the function after calculating the return expression that comes after the return keyword in the same line. So here we have x plus y. This is a return expression, so we simply add together the arguments, which is 2 plus 40, so we return 42 in our instance, and we pass this return value 42 here into the to the caller, back to the caller. And now the caller, our main program, already again has the execution, so it assigns the return value 42 to the variable value 3 that it has just created. So we have value 3 is now set to 42, and next we print the value 3, which is 42. So the output of the whole code would be 42. So let's have this code in a practical code shell very quickly. So we have value 1. We set value 1 to 2. We have value 2. We set it to 40. Value 3. We simply call add value 1, value 2, and now we need to define the function. So we call def add. It takes two values. We call them x and y within the function. So in our local function scope, we call those values x and y. So even if you pass here value 1 and value 2, now value 1 and value 2 have now specific meaning. So in Python we pass arguments by value. So we simply take the value of the to which the variable refers to. So if you pass value 1 here, Python internally checks, what is value 1? Value 1 is the integer object 2. So it passes a reference to this integer object into the function. So it passes 2 and 40. Actually, now it passes by reference. It would be more precise to say it passes by reference. So it passes a reference to the object, and now we basically return x plus y. Okay, so this is how you would use it. So again, we usually have the function definition before we call it, and then we print the result of value 3. So if you run this code, we would expect the exact same output as we had in the example 42. So but now what else can you do with? So now here we have had a return expression, but we can also have a return value. So like we can simply return 100 each time. Okay, so this would be now a very simple expression consisting only of one element, of course. So if you run this, the result would be 100. You can actually return anything. You can even return very complicated objects or lists, for example, 1, 2, 3. So the return value can be really any object in memory, and we can even return tuples. So for example, we can have 1 and 2 as a tuple. So now it returns a tuple 1, 2. You can also define return multiple values 1 and 2 like this without the parenthesis, because it's unambiguous. Okay, so it's so Python will simply interpret this as a tuple. So if we print it, it has exactly the same output. Now, if you return a tuple, or actually an iterable of many values, like a tuple or a list or something that you can iterate over, then you can also do the following. So you can, so we have 1, 2, and 1 plus 2, for example. So you can also have a mix of expressions and return values. So now we have basically a tuple of 3 elements, and the first element is 1, which is the first argument maybe, the second one maybe the second argument, and the third one maybe the sum of those arguments, okay? And now we can have, so now this return value, so if Python enters it, it will return a tuple of values, the first argument, the second argument, and the sum of those arguments. And now if you want, and now you could do the following, you could define 3 variables, so we have variable x, y, and value 3, which is the sum of both, okay? And now we can print x, y, and the sum of x and y, which is value 3, okay? So now here on the left hand side of this equation, we have defined 3 values, or 3 names, variable names, and on the right hand side we obtain a tuple. So the return value of this function call is a tuple of 3 elements as well. So we have 3 elements on the right and 3 elements on the left, and it will simply then assign 1 element per element, so one tuple element to one of the names defined on the left side, okay? So the first one will be assigned to x, the second one to y, and the third one to value 3. So, and if you print this, we obtain the result 2 and 40 is 42, okay? So this is how you can use advanced return values. One thing you need to know is that you can also return nothing, okay? So if you return nothing, so return without a return value will simply return none. Okay, and now x is not defined, so let's run this. Okay, so the return value is none of this code, okay? So if you return nothing, so if you don't have a return expression or return value, then Python will simply return nothing or none. Okay, so that's it. That's very quickly about the Python return keyword. If you want to learn about more keywords, more Python functions, more Python code, and you want to really like dive into the Python programming language, learning about each and every feature there is, then check out our Finxter email academy. I give a link in the description below, where I will send you regular Python emails and Python courses for free. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye.